Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome to Beyond Your Radio. This is Album Review Saturdays. This is episode 36 from the year of 2025. That's right, 36 weeks now we've been doing this. Welcome in my partner in new album listening crime, Deb Armitage Hicks Maloney. If you're new to the channel, this show is an extension of the article section on beyondyourradio.com. What do? Well, I write this whole thing. I blog. I do not use artificial intelligence because I don't actually know how to use it. I could learn, but I got other crap I have to learn for my job. So it's not the standard regurgitation here on this YouTube version. It's kind of my stuff being blended with Dam's and what she thought of the record. So you get that along. That's why we do the dual thing. And then, of course, why not throw an extra 3 in that I'm not going to write about because I can't write all this stuff. So that's why we do it. If you like what you see, what you hear, click the subscribe, but there's always something per day for you to feast on from beyondyourradio.com or from Beyond Your Radio on the YouTube channel. So we just keep rolling weekend after weekend, diligently day by day, pecking away after each release on Fridays, pulling from the standard to the obscurities, as well as the PR firms that send us connected tissues to all kinds of interesting materials, genres, artists, and collaborative processes from around the globe. That's right, we're international, baby. We proved that on multiple occasions, although I kind of have this thing for Norway. But we're about to change that because we're going to have Spain on our next Album Listen Challenge Redux show. So that's coming in a couple weeks, so watch for that. Don't miss that one. I've got a feeling. What don't we come in contact with? Well, maybe that's what today's all about. We have a bit of things that missed or I look back on it that we don't get to maybe. This is the weekend that we take you into the debut of a Portland band that has a sound that reaches to 2 separate ends of the indie pop spectrum, melody and harmony connections, creating a vast familiarity within inviting vulnerability and connection. Ooh, sounds huge. What about a covers album that has been prepared in such a way that it might be the most unique of its kind of all time? You should be intrigued, but the real reason is the format and the artist who did it. Finally, we go straight up old school, Mutt Lange, and just see what the hell has been missing in the last 10 years. Has it found something in 2025? No matter what, we're going to find something. You're going to find something because you deserve it, damn it. Of course you do. This is Album Review Saturdays 2025, episode 36. So here we go. Glitter Fox. The album name is Decoder. I don't know if I was having problems, but when I first typed it, Glitter Fox, I got a different album. So careful. Make sure you have that decoder. If it does not hit you immediately from the first track, Passengers, that's okay. It might be a tale of your musical immaturity, which would be completely understandable given the onslaught and attention deficit disorder that we've all been under in the music exploration for the last century. I don't speak the name of the band just yet, as I would be concerned that it might change your tune, your listening, your characterization, your placement. Connection to Glitter Fox's debut album, Decoder. Merging from the best experienced singer-songwriters and musicians can find themselves in open mics. Glitter Fox Quartet found themselves, that's their connection. And at that point, the music on this debut succeeds in solidifying the importance of that raw, unadulterated performances that can have on them, as well as the future of music of individuals, as well as the future of the music buying, showcase, attending public. Miss Solange Igoa and Andrea Walker, Andrea, I would assume, found each other's style and delivery kind of captivating in those moments at that open mic, and it enriched them both. I think it was forming a duo, basically, at that time. And for quite some time, I assume, considering the connection they have at this point. Now, Glitter Fox, the band, not sure when they actually became that, but maybe that'll be information coming from Deb Armitage Maloney, but become this full quartet that happens to, I don't know, that comes together from the ceremonies of open mic. They get their bassist, they get their drummer, and here they are. So I can tell you all this because, well, it's not like these were studio trained musicians. No, no. It's not like they had any connection other than these raw, thin walls of open mic places where I'm sure sound probably goes to somewhat die. But this formation from duo writing and harmonies by Goa and Walker was so strong that it pulled it all together, creating a sound that was kind of had that impression that I can find and grow from track to track and from listen to listen. This is not a one and done kind of thing for me, anyway. Decoder's lyrical capture, while not as equal to the vocal delivery that happens, I'm very sympathetic melodies, and the musicianship finds a way in a lot of places. Even where I find myself in comparison to that one band I've yet to mention. I find comparisons on other spectrums of pop, melody, harmony, and vocal. Yeah, I find it, why, you sound like Miley Cyrus, for example. Solange's vocal vibrato and style can often leak into that very sustainable and fierce, vulnerable place, and that elevates the listen for the track. Does it elevate the lyric? Yeah, it kind of does. That's what it's meant to do. Then there's the harmonies that speak directly and sympathetically through the group, the music, which I can only imagine as a live spectator against that shitty design of an open mic night, now in a more professional setting, being headed by a sound guy who might care, could be absolutely really good or better than that. But damn, where are you?
Well, I found them very interesting as people, to tell you the truth. When I looked up some things, coming from Portland, there, I just picture people in Portland, Seattle areas to be a little bit more on the wanderlust type journey, right?
Okay.
Uh, they met, yes, like you said, open mic. They actually traded in 95% of all of their belongings and lived the van life for 2 years, which is, you get to know people when you're stuck in a van, right? Um, they ended up getting married, and they're divorced now, I believe, but they've been, I think they're divorced.
I didn't, I had that kind of feeling, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
they're maybe divorced from the standpoint of that affectionate standpoint, but they're not
Yeah,
certainly not divorced in songwriting
nope,
duo. So like
no.
Bernie Taupin and
And
Elton
Elton
John. Not that they were
John,
ever a couple. Well, maybe who knows?
but maybe
What
they
happens
were. We
behind
don't
closed
know. If
doors?
it wasn't things that we talked about as much back in the 70s as we do now, right? Um, they both have had mental health issues and different diagnoses as adults. As far as the one was diagnosed with adult autism,
Hmm.
so that was probably a challenge growing up, not knowing why her brain didn't work like everybody surrounding her in a classroom. Um, their their bassist, Eric Stalker, he self-taught himself on the bass because he knew that they needed a bassist. So that's a vision, what road you're going to go down and make it happen. I think that that's pretty cool. I want to be in that band and they need a
Yeah.
bassist, so I'm going to learn to play.
It's even true
Um,
for the drummer who basically was not drumming at the time.
yeah, yeah. So I find that this is a band of perseverance and overcoming things, and maybe being able to write songs from a perspective that they seem more mature and worldly beyond their years. Um, I picked up on, is it Solange? She's the head, she's the main vocal
Vocal.
in the band, right? Um, I heard Stevie Nicks right away, and when I went and read about her, she's been compared to that Stevie Nicks timbre in her voice, which is
Mhm.
very, I guess, familiar and loving to me. So that drew me in. They really credit their songwriting to being influenced over like the Cure's songwriting. They really love that band, and they like the structure of how they develop their songs. And I have to say, their wedding, listen to this. Their wedding was formatted just like mine and Bobby Plant's, a music festival.
Yeah.
So that's cool too. So they really love music. This album though itself, very I want to use the word dramatic just because of what the songs are about. I don't feel that it's over dramatized in the way that they're playing it or singing, but their songs have meaning. Take Me Back is about the anniversary of Walker's mom's death. Um, Passenger is really about watching your life go by instead of being in the driver's seat, and we talk about that, don't we, Mark?
Yep.
Um, I think that the songs have insightful and universal meanings that they draw on their own personal experiences, but everybody wanted to be the cool kid. Everybody wanted to feel better at times when they felt like they were the only ones on the planet that felt that way. And I feel that this album kind of brings all of those life experiences into a place that you can really enjoy listening and not feel depressed, but you can understand that there's emotion there, but you don't feel like, oh, geez, when is this going to be done? Kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that can be painful too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that was my take on it. I enjoyed it. And like you said, it's not a one and done listen. You have to listen to it several times to really get where they're coming from. Because sometimes I think when you have a band it's their debut album, you might set yourself up for thinking it's not going to be all that great. How good can it be?
Hmm.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So you got an easy indie pop kind of pop, less rock. There's less rock in this to be me.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of leads to that Cure thing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What is here fantastically is that wonderful bridge they're building between indie rock and pop. They understand a bit of the heritage of it, as well
Mm-hmm.
as the hook and the timing, which leads to all that being the better part of everything. I'm not a huge fan of Richie's Party as an
Right.
overall song. It's everything I just described, though. It's leaning 80s, but it's even got that 70s band again. That band that seemed to find a sound way, way, way about them, solidifying
Mm-hmm.
their process, not only in a song, but in the stage presence and a connected pieces to very listening souls that are in front of them. And that seems to be where this band is. Like they feed off of the band, the people at at the actual performance. Um, as well as like those that are partaking of the album that are really going to listen to the album, right? Instead of just buy it because everyone says buy it. Glitter Fox is stepping
Right.
into that kind of frame of this particular band, but not on purpose. And that's the reason I'm excited, because if it was doing it on purpose, I'd be pissed. Um, they're not stuck on it. I think it just sort of happened in the process of creativity, but they have
Yeah.
found a sound way about themselves, and it leaps from the pop to even the alt rock countryish from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
like where the album changes, and that pretty much comes with "Change Me," and into "Not Fade Away."
I miss the feeling of your strings beneath my fingers. We used to write a song each night, you'd come to linger. And it's been so long, are those days gone? The silence keeps hanging on. It started as one day that leads into another.
That definitely catches you full on. This is tremendous style. The lyric and the delivery are finally meeting up. The first part of the record doesn't work as well for me. It's still
Mm-hmm.
good, but this is where this becomes a darker listen as it heads
Mm-hmm.
to its fruition. It's this very song that has me very much in tune with Glitter Fox and what they are attempting to decode here. Stevie, yeah, and that band would be proud of the future this band will have if the sophomore album continues on how the second half of this record finished, because
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely mind blowing where they go at that point, and it changes your mind and your will kind of as well. But more instruments capping. There's great organ, and you're going for it in that comfortability. There's horn that pull in. It's a very diverse generational basis that this band could suck in. To be honest, that's where I am at this. I promise you, this is a listen that will not fade away, no matter the rumors. Okay, I'm going to promise not to cry. Stephen Paul Smith was born in Omaha, Nebraska, which is where Brad Mehldau was actually born as well. Pianist, composer, songwriter, and collaborator. The connection to Elliott Smith is something for every musician. It is something for every music listener. We all come to terms with this short-careered legend at some point if we are truly a music listener. Melody and the power of the connection that is ultimately intended by this musician, this Smith. I still remember the first time I ever heard Elliott Smith. Another Portland connection, by the way, for this album review Saturday. And for that point on, I had to make sure I was buying and paying attention to everything that I could get, unless, you couldn't afford it. The vocal layers and the harmonies were just so thin and yet so dense all at the same time. And that was utterly indescribable right at this point. I wouldn't be able to tell you. You just have to listen to it if you didn't know Elliott Smith. Unless, of course, you're the great Brad Mehldau. If you're Brad Mehldau, this is his more than a cover album, tribute, and beautified expression to a 34-year-old singer-songwriter that still glorifies the process and haunts it all at the same time. This is Ride Into the Sun, and this is a cover album experience unlike any in history. Brad's compositions on this, because he did write stuff to intermingle, is inspired by Elliott, are a perfect, as I said, an intertwining, you call it, that is nearly tearfully unimaginable. Just in the solo work of the piano, the connection is harboring that wispy thinness intentionally, but then interlacing it with accompaniments that are generously astounding and completely surprising at times. There are times at the very beginning of the record, like I thought the writing, he was writing himself into a Vince Guaraldi kind of thing, like the Peanuts, where he's got this piano melody going. He's not going to be able to escape that. How is that going to get anywhere? And escape it he does, as if he possessed like a Houdini-like key to the keys of everything. Yes, the songs of Elliott Smith are the backbone and the skin, but Mehldau is the compositionalist and the magic, and that becomes the nerves of it all and the collaborative aura. That's why there had to be vocal. And you wouldn't have thought that, because that's not what happens in a Mehldau record. That's done by Daniel Rosen on Tomorrow, and another song later on and he's from Grizzly Bear. So, okay, now when you open that box, you kind of know there's other people joining the show here too, right? That's Chris Nile of Nickel Creek, Matt Chamberlain of Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians, who he's also done work with Tori Amos, Pearl Jam, Perfect Circle, David Bowie, and shit, he was even on the soundtrack for Frozen. Okay, so
I know.
Great people flock together, right? If you're a musician and you can hear what you hear. Nothing is more evident in the power and the beauty of the artists in question in here than on Everything Means Nothing to Me. just bleh. Damn you.
Well, you know how I feel about jazz most of the time. Not this time though. Uh,
Excellent.
I really I loved how he incorporated vocals into some of the songs. It was needed, I think,
Yeah.
in order to pull you back from some of the uh, it's complex. It definitely is. He is classically trained. His favorites are Bach and Brahms, but, but so did uh the Peanuts. We know Schroeder sitting at his little piano playing Beethoven, right? Um,
He wasn't
what I
playing
found,
Brahm though. Maybe he didn't. I wasn't paying attention, but
yeah. So what I loved that when I read, I'm always looking up to see if I can guess who an artist's influences are. And what I loved, what he said, his teachers. And I love that.
makes
And
sense.
we need to give more credit to our teachers because they're the ones that open our minds to new things that maybe we wouldn't go down the road to explore. Now, you mentioned he'd get into these melodies and these tracks that you're like, how are you going to pull yourself out of that?
Yes.
Well, he has something very unique that he can do. And as somebody that played piano for, 12 years, uh, he can play independent melodies on each hand. And for somebody that can do that, their brain does not work like yours or mine. Piano
Let's hope
does that.
nobody's brain works like mine.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to make you feel normal today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate your brain sometimes. But he's done a lot of records where he's made interpretations of bands like Radiohead and Beatles and Paul Simon and things like that. So I find him extremely interesting as a musician, but as a person too, to think that way and think outside the box. And we get to be the enjoyers of all that he has to offer, right? Um, I'm not going to point out any specific songs, but it's the best way I could describe it. It's a tapestry of things. It's layered, but then it's glittery too. And it depends which thread he used in that part of the album. And the glue and the gel, like you said, that he took from being able to use these Elliott Smith songs, but make it his own, is his compositions too. And it's just so interesting how he did it because I don't want anybody to be scared away if they read uh, a little blurb on this is a cover album
Yeah.
because it's not.
Yep. Yeah, it's
It
really not.
is, but it isn't. It's not like anything you would ever expect. So
And who does a cover album with two songs that are covers of a
yes,
cover,
yes,
right?
yes. He's a
Yeah,
cover in a
yeah,
cover.
yeah.
But
He
so
covered Big Stars
yes,
song, and he did a marvelous job of it. So he said, "Well, that's got to be on the record,"
yeah,
So he's covering a cover. Whoa.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant is
Oh,
what I
Nick
would
Drake too,
say.
right? One of the Nick Drake songs. Right.
Yep, yep.
And that is not. Sorry, that's not a cover. Nick Drake actually. Meldo says he thought that Nick Drake might have been the godfather or grandfather of Elliott Smith. That's why I included it. I think so.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, love that. Very delightful. I'm going to use
So
that word this.
yeah, I'm holding so tight to this album. I'm at 8 listens already. It's the best in your ear without noise interference. Don't listen to it in your car. Although if you got your car up enough, you can pull it off. It'd be incredible on your speakers if you have it. Brad is an exceptional composer, he's heartfelt pianist, but on this recording, he is an emotive collaborator and a maestro at that wisp and magic that was created by an exceptional talent that was lost too young. I will leave you to it, to leave it, to go to listen to it on your own. Again, yes, as Dan said, do not be discouraged because it's a covers record. For those that are just now losing their immaturity of sound, this is an extraordinary production. and A Ride into the Sun. Now, as is the record company's name, there is none such. And I'll leave you with the lyrical line that made this album. Everyone wants me to ride into the sun, but I ain't going to go down, laying low again, high on the sound.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Perhaps the Canadian king of the anthem pop rock song is back. There was a time where this rocker, singer, songwriter could absolutely do no wrong. I had to have every album the day it dropped. I became aware of him in 1987 on an album called Into the Fire. Now, extremely anthemic, extremely deep, talking about Remembrance Day and all kinds of other stuff. So that led me to, oh my gosh, this guy's been around. By Reckless. Yeah, by Cuts Like a Knife. And into the next decade as a huge fan. But then something happened. As a musical taste change, I don't know. To some degree, pop rock can only fill a very small void, in my opinion. If you want disdain, anger, bitterness, I don't know, thrill, darkness, culture. If you want culture, you can't listen to pop rock. That's not culture. That's fake culture. Go get the blues. Go get some jazz.
Yeah.
Then you'll know. Well, anyway, that's just my opinion. Nothing against Bryan Adams and those albums that came after 2000. I have them all. They don't do it for me. Like those that I just mentioned, and of course, what I believe the masterpiece is Waking Up the Neighbors. Well, that's Mutt Lange. And collaboratively speaking, this is the circle that Bryan Adams was in. Circles like Peter Gabriel, Joe Cocker, Sting, Barbra Streisand. He was in he's been to every musical benefit show. What do they call the Live Aid, Farm Aid, Dog Aid, aid this, aid that,
Kool-Aid.
this, get that, save the dog, save the cat, don't eat your farm animal, whatever he was into. Okay.
Oh yeah. He's a vegan.
So all that,
yeah.
right? But he's still been around Mutt. He's still been around Jim Valance, and I don't want to say Jimmy Valance because that sounds a little strange, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But especially too with his photography gift that he's got that I kind of wasn't aware of, which kind of led into them that this guy doesn't need this career. Can you imagine that? He's
No.
a millionaire over probably if he could charge for wedding songs for Everything I Do for You, I'm pretty sure he could live off that in just itself. But no, I'm a photographer. Let me take these great pictures and have them in magazines and on people's covers. And anyway, yes, the production sounds exactly what you would expect here. So let's get into the album before I gush. Professional of his nature and the guidance that he's been under with Mutt Lange. No, Mutt Lange did not produce this record. He only shows up on it. His partner in crime there, along with him, they've delivered what you might expect. The unmarried soloist admits from sound to lyric that this is all working for him.
You said you only want the good things in life. And you find somebody that you want as your wife. I tried my best to convince you to run, but you went and did it. Now you're back to square one. How's that working for you?
I don't know how it's working for you. Damn, how's it working for you?
Well, it's so funny because my foray into Bryan Adams was MTV. Right. And then, I was there at the beginning of that because I'm a little older than you. So as a, late teenager to early 20s, it was all the rage, right? So that's pretty much where my musical, I guess, saturation was coming from at the time. And then at some point you go, all right, I've had enough of Bryan Adams. So, when you start listening to other things and your tastes change. But I mean, he definitely is somebody that's very nostalgic for me as far as going back to my formative years of listening to music. So, and I really didn't know much about him other than that he was a Canadian. So I learned some things, and you talked about he's an award-winning photographer. He actually took pictures of Queen Elizabeth and they used it on a stamp. That's so Canadian. I love it. And people that don't live near Canada just don't understand the connection that Canadians have with the royal family. So this was probably one of his most proud moments, I would think, as a Canadian, right? He dropped out at 15 from school. So he never got his high school degree, but he used his college money that his parents had saved to buy a piano. And thank you, Mom and Dad Adams. That was really kind of nice if you didn't disown him at that point. I'm kind of embarrassed that I just found out what the summer of 69 really means. Um, okay. I'm a little disappointed. I didn't know it had to do with, the sex act. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to that song in a different way now. Um, his influences are the usual suspects of anybody that is his age, and what kind of music he went into. So you got the Beatles, Stones, Zeppelin, whatever. But here's an interesting thing, and this touches my heart. Uh, he actually brought Amy Winehouse to his home in the Caribbean and helped her detox. And if anybody has had to watch somebody they care about go through that and be willing to do that, that says something about your character too. So this guy kind of moved up in the ranks for me as a human being in this exercise. So I don't have anything bad to say about the album because now I
He's
just like
always
Bryan
been,
Adams.
yeah, he's always been that okay. So that I don't know if that photo that he took that's
Hmm.
inside the one album is from that moment with her or being around her or whatever,
I
but
don't know.
he did.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
that's an incredible human being, in my opinion. But yeah, he's got rock anthems on this album that he's known for. There's soulful ballads. The one that I really like, Love is Stronger Than Hate. Harmonica was so cool, and that I love
And that's
that.
him playing harmonica.
I'm so intrigued by anybody that can play a harmonica. I just think it is the most bewildering instrument. Um, and then he has, very thoughtful, introspective songs too that show his maturity, not just, roll with the punches kind of thing, but will we ever be friends again? Things that are talking about the stage of life that he's in and maybe rethinking relationships with people that he wishes he still has, or maybe ones that he should have gotten rid of sooner. I don't know, because we
Yeah.
all have those too. So
Mhm.
I enjoyed this album so far. 3 for 3 today.
Yeah. Um, I think what we don't understand about him is his ability to be, he's a multi-instrumentalist. It's
I know,
piano,
but
it's
I didn't
organ,
know.
it's guitar,
Mhm,
it's keyboard, it's harmonica, yeah, it's the ingredients and the
mhm,
delivery are all there. And the one thing that Bryan Adams has always provided, that natural ability of believing it.
mhm,
And the one part that I love about that is it kind of has that Rolling Stones kind of appeal in delivery and how the sound comes out. Maybe a generation lost, but he's still a pure rock star that can roll with the punches with the best
mhm,
of them. It doesn't exactly pull any new punches, that's for sure.
mhm,
But when you think about it, when you have a formula that works, feels and delivers almost always, despite my years lost in the chasm of music. It's
mhm,
always nice to come back to a place of home, a place where I
mhm,
discovered the singing, the melody, and the way to use it toward anthems, messages, emotive delivery that could be done in a sea of 85,000 to that of the characters in an Oscar winning motion picture. So he's done that too. While Roll with the Punches swings way below the weight class that Adams used to be in, one must realize that when you have such huge songs consuming your catalog and stage performance, it might not always be in your best interest trying to be in a title fight anymore. There
mhm.
are great messages on this recording, as damn talked about, and they're well done. They will connect, and I'm sure they will get a lot of audio repeat because of the generations of mine and those before me. It will be the reason he can tour, inspire, and continue to be him. His voice is unmistakable, but so is the power of it and how it is cradled by the musicians that surround themselves with him. There's a lot of fun that happens at those concerts. I've been. He's not there to not entertain you or play songs. He wants to entertain. It is not the same as the record. And if you're sitting down, he will call you out in the crowd. I've been there. He's done it.
I love it.
There is a deluxe version of this album, which actually comes with an acoustical set. I would recommend that because anytime he's done that, it's been really, really good. It does not include all the songs, which I think is smart because some of them might not have played that well to it. The
Sure.
album does fall for me at the end. The last couple of tracks, I don't think their positioning was correct. Maybe there should have been one more. I don't know. But he, when he's doing all that stuff and he's never been married and he had this girlfriend for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one woman that came between him and her. A supposed affair with Princess Diana. I don't know if that's very real, but they were friends for sure. And I don't know how a guy like him has gone as far as he has and been as loving as he has and been out there and not found that. That is the hardest part. That when he sings about love lost or that, he's elevated to the Phil Collins level. So.
Brian, call me. I'm free.
Yeah.
I've got a music festival all lined up for us.
Yes. So we have an extra 3 again today. I did have a 4th one, but I'm going to save it for next week because I'm alone. So let's start off with this band, the Hives. The Hives forever, forever the Hives. Terrible title, forever terrible title. Is it this album? Veni Vidi Vicious?
Mm-hmm. No.
It's not. I don't know why I don't think it is. It falls in the same space. I'm not saying this doesn't fit the Hives. That's not the case. My case is really that this is the problem I have with these type of recordings. They sound the same. They hit the same. And that means nothing really stands out. The volume intensity is always the same throughout. There's nowhere that tells me anything different or comes to me in any other way. I like it. We drove back to Boston with it, and but was I really paying attention? Was I don't know. Damn.
Yeah, I'm a fan of their type of punk rock. I'm a fan of the Ramones and the New York Dolls and things like that, and they draw on them as influences. I did learn about the suits and why they always wear those suits, a rebellion against grunge and holy clothes, and they want to bring it up a level, which I think is funny for a punk type band. But the Foo Fighters dressed up as them for Halloween one year, and I think that is so funny because of Dave Grohl and Nirvana and grunge, and I find you got to love their sense of humor, right? Yeah, and they're definitely garage rock. I love White Stripes and Arctic Monkeys and all that kind of thing. And I love that the frontman's nickname is, taken after a tribute to Howlin' Wolf. That's kind of cool because his nickname is Howlin' Pele. How do you say his name? Is it Pele?
Yeah.
Hell. Well, no, he's a soccer player. But anyway, I think the 2 songs that I did like was because it was very reminiscent of what I thought of the Hives. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Enough is enough. I like those 2 songs, but the album as a whole just didn't capture my attention enough to go deep in. Not that their songs are deep.
No, they're funny in their way, like OCDOD, Woo! Every breath I eat, walking south down the street, chewing on a plastic pen. It's gonna kill my brain again. I can't go home. I'm sorting stones, clicking bones in the danger zone. Can't call God on the phone.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the musicianship, I think, that tends to. I don't think the drummer's being challenged enough.
Yeah. It could be. I don't, is that what it is? I don't
I
know.
don't know. He's just like
I
when
don't
he's
know
drumming,
enough
I go,
about
was
it.
that the same kind of drum pattern? I'm not sure.
So,
All right. Well,
yeah.
hey, you know what? Let's go from one to an absolute another. On
Okay.
purpose? No, I didn't know who the lot lizards were at all, but I was smitten by the title The Horrors of Adulting. Why? Well, one of the horrors of adulting was going on when I was hearing this album. I
I thought for sure. I'm like, this was like so perfectly chosen without knowing you were perfectly choosing.
yes, you know, this past weekend, the that moment where a child becomes a sort of adult and goes to college, or maybe doesn't go
Sort
to
of.
college, or you're hanging on a string and you find out you're going to college, but you don't know whether she's actually going to stay there. You
It's
want to be
hard.
supportive, you want to be emotive, you want to be what is it, empathetic, but there's a certain point where reality has to be chosen one
Yes.
way or the other. And I think maybe it's these type of bands that I don't think they choose any reality. They just stay. It's like their home. And
Yeah.
the commune of the same.
Yeah.
I have never heard of this band before selecting it, but 5.5 hour ride, horror, anxiety, and fingers crossed for 2 days. I get it. St. Petersburg, Florida. I get it. You got just punked up, melodic, catchy, tuned up, turned up, played fast.
Tell me who are you when there isn't someone watching? Tell me who are you when you're alone? Will you let go? Or will you hold it back until your heart explodes?
Kind of raw in the vocal for me. Warped Tour kind of stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I love that they're the lot lizards, we all want to talk about commercial sex trade at the truck and rest stops, there's nothing better than that.
Rare.
That's why I'm not going to pee on my next trip. I don't
No,
want to know what's
straight
happening
on through.
there. And I do love that the lead singer said, yeah, being an adult is shitty most of the time. I'm like, yes, welcome to our lives. Um, this album, he said, was mostly about trying to find a way to have some escapism in your life when you are having to be an adult, and using punk rock as a coping mechanism. And I laughed because one of the Ramones' most famous songs is I Want to Be Sedated. So,
Yeah.
yeah, because they were adults too. Um,
Never looked like adults, but yeah.
no, no, no. I thought this was a fun album for somebody I'd never heard of, and I thought it was better than the Hives for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
But not to say that this was all fun and games.
No.
They're really writing some of these songs from places of personal experience and maybe a little bit more mature than what the Hives were writing about. But, Broken Parts is about one of the members' dad has Parkinson's, and to watch a loved one go through that, that's
Yeah.
insightful to then be able to put it in this genre and talk about it. But you can be angry in punk too, right? Um, Good intentions. It's all about a well-meaning friend that always screws up. We all have them, right? So
That's what I took from that one. Good. I didn't look, but
yeah,
that's what I took from
yeah,
it. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I go, yeah,
Aren't you doing the right things for me? Not.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And just leave me alone. I can handle this problem on my own because you're just making it worse. But yeah, I thought it was a notch above the Hives. I don't even know how long they've been around. Because you know what? When you search them, there's a other band just called Lot Lizard.
Yep.
Then there's another band too, and I had
Yeah.
to be really careful
Yeah.
about my fun
I got the
facts.
feeling that there was not as much because it seemed like the other one had more. Well, they had
Yes.
more pictures. I didn't go deep. The minute I saw their pictures, I go, "That's not them." I knew it immediately. Like,
Well, right,
Yeah.
right. Yes. So that just be careful, audience, that you're
Yes.
looking the right
It's
lizard up.
the lot lizards.
I
And
guess people like lot lizards
yeah, the horrors of adulting.
of adulting.
Okay? Not the whores. All right. Um, So let's clean it up. Let's go to something a little bit more traditional. And I people say we cover the blues on here. We do. But I'm going this one because because I'm addicted to and the. And when I see Piper and the Hard Times, it could have been Piper and the Demolition Crew. It could have been Piper and the shit sitting on my lawn. I am going to. I don't know why, but I want like that open mic. Another thing is the bar band. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing speaks to me like a bar band that could become successful, latch on to that. That's like a power moment. And of course, one of the greatest to ever do that would probably be the Tragically Hip. So now, but what's this a bar band in blues, which can be awfully tricky because when you play Mustang Sally twice in your set, you probably need to think of another profession like gas attendant. Right? Okay, I've offended a lot of people. I'm sorry, but God bless.
No.
All right. Yes, this is your bar band blues, but oh my God, it's getting to shake its vocal. It's getting to shake its soul. It's shaking that tail feather. I get the Blues Brothers kind of vibe going on, right? There's a chance. All right. A lick, a riff, a rolling thunder vocal led dream here.
Country boy on the weekday with my horses and the cattle all around me. But on the weekend, I'm cowboy Gucci. You can catch me in my three-piece suit. I'm a little country, gotta have my boots short. Known the word of Wranglers in the areas too.
So me, the sucker for the band names, all right, and something following them. I had to toss this one up on the extras because the expectation, a chance perchance to hear a dream and maybe be wowed by it. So was Deb wowed by it.
Oh, yeah. So fun. Okay. Well, what makes this different to me, anyways, it's not a traditional blues band by any means. When you look at their influences, yeah, I mean, there's Muddy Waters, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Stevie Ray Vaughan, but there's Dave Brubeck. And, their background is musicians. Their background is gospel. The lead singer, Piper, he was a gospel singer, but when he was in gospel, he was too shy to sing solo. Well, somebody lit a fire under his ass because he does not have problems belting out a song.
He saw the light.
Sure.
He saw the light.
He saw the light. What I really think is interesting that gives this band a personality is they all have their nicknames like you're supposed to when you're a blues guy. You got Sexy Boy, the Conductor, the Professor, just interesting, right? It's cool.
Never want to be called Gilligan, though, I don't think.
Gilligan. We've had a lot of adulting themes in this Saturday, and this is what I get from this album too. Adulting is pretty much shitty 95% of the time. So their songs kind of revolve around how to make adulting easier on yourself, or being reminiscent of it would be better to be a child, like those days. They recorded that song in a single 8-minute session, and then they overdubbed the sax. But that's all about the innocence of childhood. And we don't appreciate the innocence of childhood until we're not innocent anymore, right? And we just look at kids going, don't grow up too fast. It ain't good over here. Stay where you are.
Although it sounds like he should be brought up on charges. Whatever happened to going in the woods and lighting fires? What? What stuff that you could easily walk away from? What? I'm like, okay, all right, wait a minute.
They're from Tennessee, so just put it into perspective, okay? My place, like I listened to that and I'm going, oh my God, yeah, we have to go to music to escape stress. It's like you said before we even started the show. Music, there's a reason that we do listen to music. And so we don't have to be, wallowing in our own misery all the time. Sometimes we like to wallow in somebody else's misery and feel better about ourselves,
Yeah.
The title track, Good Company, they're talking on this album a lot about healing power of having the right relationships in your life that go above and beyond whatever problem you have right now. If you sustain those relationships, you'll get through the problem and you'll come out on the other side with good people in your life. So be true to yourself. And I think that this album has some really good messages and really good vocals and really good musicianship and fun. Blues, but not traditional blues. There's no
It has that hint of that.
It does.
It has a background, but it's a little bit more than that, or swayed
Yeah.
more so to soul than it is to
Yes,
blues
the
in some
soul.
cases.
Got some
And that
funk.
comes obviously from the vocal.
Yes.
He has it in spades. He not only has he had whiskey, I'm pretty sure there's probably moonshine. It's intravenously put into his.
Well, did you hear though? Like he was just diagnosed with colon cancer, so in
Oh,
June.
wow.
And so that's why they're not touring and they still released the album.
Wow.
So, they're facing some adulting struggles as a band.
That's horrible. I didn't know that. So hard times, right? They're on my radar now. This band. Where are those days? This is a band that realizes that those days and how to deliver. My wife and I are in the car, and she goes, "Oh, he sounds like somebody from the '80s." Remember the guy with the beard? And I'm like, "What guy with the beard from the '80s?" The only person I could think of was this McDonald.
yeah,
Which I
yes,
don't
yes,
even.
yes.
And then she goes, she's looking up on her phone, McDonald. I'm like, holy crap! I could have solved
Yeah.
this like 5 minutes ago. I don't know if it's that like that, but I get it. That connection. He has that. You're gonna hear him. You're gonna listen to him. You're gonna hear him. You have no choice.
It's a little bit of a lower
Register.
vocal than your typical blues guy. I found it to be, and that's where the soulfulness comes in a little bit, right?
Yes. I agree. I
I
certainly
agree.
What did you think of these albums? No, okay, stop. Let us know in the comments. Like what you like, leave what you don't. Subscribe to the channel for more. I'll thank Dan for doing this. Why am I hurrying? I don't know, because they got places to go, people to see, and no one's going to watch this anyway. Next week, I'm flying solo. That's right. I'll be on my own. So get ready to get pumped up, psyched up, stoner rock, and a progressive album that I have been dying to listen to, and I wouldn't even touch it. It's sitting over there until I knew I was going to be able to do it and absorb it and just, yes, and unfold it, if you will.
Oh, unfold it.
Yes. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Articles, videos, podcasts coming soon. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Unknown Sundays. I'm finally going to get to Phoenix. Obviously, I was traveling to the daughter thing, and I did all the work. It's all written, but I didn't record. So we'll do that. Phoenix will be the band on Sunday. It's the French band that kind of has that Tragically Hip deal where they were big there and nowhere. But they get 2 appearances on Saturday Night Live. What? Thanks for watching, and happy listening.